complete opposite of what I've been told all my life.
Huh.
Yeah, complete opposite. Like mind blowing. And everyone was super friendly to me. Like I had like the greatest time, you know. And that was something that stuck with me, you know. Like it stuck with me for a very, very long time, you know. And I left the country 13 years ago. And
How long were you here when you got here?
So I was here for a year.
For a year.
So yeah.
After that first cab ride.
After that first cab ride. Thinking my thought was that, okay, I'll spend like 2 weeks in Argentina, then I'll go back to Brazil, and then maybe I'll figure some way to get back on track.
Why the hell would you go back to Brazil?
Brazil has its own form of intoxication. Yeah. It's. I mean, you lived there. You know.
Yeah, I was there.
So, and that's what I was used to. Remember, I left the United States and went to Brazil, and I was there for 7 months. So that had become my new default. You know, and so I ended up spending a year here in Buenos Aires, and this, mind you, this was the year that Airbnb had first become a thing. So as a result, I stayed in like so many different neighborhoods. You know, I've stayed everywhere from Belgrano, Núñez, Colón to Avellaneda. Yeah. You know, and so I got to learn the city as Airbnb was blowing up.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
that's pretty interesting. And your first impression of the city? I mean,
wow. Good question. My first impression of Buenos Aires was very European. I didn't do any pre-research into Buenos Aires before I arrived. I had, zero.
It's much different than São Paulo or Rio de Janeiro in terms
very
of
different
architecture and
very, very, very different. Very, very different. Infrastructure is different. There were so many things that were different. And mind you, when I did that, I was alone. So it was like I was already struggling learning Portuguese. Now I'm struggling trying to learn, Castellano Real Platense. So I'm like, my brain was already screwed up on top of trying to learn the city on top of everything else. Yeah.
So you fit in well, though. In that first year, you fit in well.
So I was fortunate because at that time
2012, 2011.
Yeah, at that time Craigslist was still a thing.
Yeah.
So I fell in with some Colombian film students. Uh-huh. So just immediately got insinuated into like the artistic scene when I first got here. So like immediately I had like a network of friends. So and my first asados and everything. So yeah, like I was very fortunate to have the connections that I had from the very beginning. Yeah.
Yeah. The food in Brazil is good, but I imagine the food in. How'd you feel about the food when you got here?
So, all right. So let me say this: food in Brazil is not uniform, meaning that the food that your general cuisine that you would see in Rio is not the cuisine that you would see in Bahia, and it's not the cuisine that you would see in São Paulo. So, for example, in São Paulo, because you have like a huge Arab descendant or Syrian descendant population, shawarma is a thing. Like they have more Arab influenced food there. The food in Bahia is very tropical. So a lot of the food in Bahia kind of reminded me of like Jamaican food, right? And I'm Jamaican, so like it kind of reminded me of like Jamaican food. Not as spicy, but it kind of reminded because it's a lot of tropical influences, a lot of use of coconut oil, and then the food in Rio is more like your what I would call standard Brazilian fare. Then you come here. And it's radically different, Then you come in and it's like
got everything from pasta, Italian, Spanish. Mm-hmm. Then you got the asado and
Yeah, and that was a big adjustment to me because my palate runs more towards the spicy, and Argentines at that time. Now it's a little bit more so, but at that time, like no one in Argentina ate any spicy food. Yeah, so it was like yeah, it was like a big I don't want to say culture shock, but it was definitely a big perspective shock between Salvador and then Sampa and then Rio de Janeiro and then finally Uruguay and Argentina.
So you were here for a year and then you split. You came. Where'd you go?
So I left to go manage a farm in Costa Rica. Yeah, so I found a gig house sitting a farm in the middle of the jungle in Costa Rica, and I did.
It's pretty different, man. You go from Buenos Aires to a jungle in Costa Rica. Man.
Yeah. So I was living in Costa Rica, and I went to Costa Rica. All right, I went to Costa Rica for probably one of the most unusual reasons. I went to Costa Rica because life was too good in Argentina.
Huh?
Yeah.
In what sense?
Well, the dollar was strong. Peso was really weak at that time.
Cops weren't messing with you, so you like Mr.
Oh
Cops,
no! Cops weren't messing with me. I led a really charmed life, like a really really charmed life, and so. I was like, I felt like the thing about I realized about the human condition is that we need struggle. When you achieve what is basically your ultimate comfort, when all your goals are met, I believe that as a man you're dead. You need a goal. You need resistance. You need inertia to overcome, because victory, winning, succeeding, there's no sense there's no value in it if there's no resistance. And my life at that time was, I lived really well. I'm not gonna lie. I was very lucky. The experiences that I had at that time, the people I knew at that time, I was really, really lucky. And so life wasn't a struggle. And I was like, okay, I need to go somewhere and recalibrate. And I took the opportunity to manage this farm in the middle of the jungle. And the last time I had lived on a farm was I was 2-3 years old on my mother's family farm in Jamaica. So that was a perspective shift, like going from this basically a European city to okay, I have these horses, I have 14 head of cow, I'm in the middle of the jungle, it's pitch black at night. Yeah.
It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
That's pretty amazing. And then what happened? Then you decided, hey, I got to get back to BA?
No. So, no, actually at that time, my whole focus was to get back to Brazil. Like I said, Brazil has its own special form of intoxication. And I never made it back. And I ended up having to go back to the United States. So I lived in the United States. And what was interesting about BA was that in my dreams, I have 3 different types of dreams, but I'll tell you the third type. The third was I was always dreaming about BA. It was wild. Okay, I thought I loved Brazil, but in my dreams was BA. All my happy dreams was BA.
Wow.
Yeah. So fast forward 12 years. I'm working as a concierge, as a corporate concierge, and on paper sounds like a fun job, right? Because
what's that job consist of?
Basically, you're working with affluent clients. You're arranging all their itineraries. You know, like that's you're basically handling all their affairs, their travel, you know, and you know, it was a cool job, but for me, I don't really resonate with working behind a desk. At least not for long periods of time. Not like, I always felt there was something missing. And so I came up with this business idea because I love wine. And I approached some people about my idea, and so they were like, "Okay, well, we like your idea. You know, we like your idea. It sounds novel. You know, sounds like it could work. However, we will feel more confident about your idea if you were able to supply us with wine." So now I'm thinking to myself, well, where can I go and get wine at cost?
Yeah.
Right. So
sure.
yeah. So when the idea was given to me, I was like, okay, this sounds like the excuse to come back. This is the perfect excuse. This is like purpose built. And came back and been trying to ply my trade within the wine industry ever since.
So that's what you do now? You're in the wine business?
Yeah, I mean, I hesitate to say that I'm in the wine business because I don't have a vineyard. So I'm not like some dude, with like 1,000 acres in Mendoza, and I'm not that guy. Basically what I'm doing now is I am starting a bar here. I'm not going to give away the location, but it's coming soon. It's called Conatora. And basically what we're going to concentrate on are just great wines. We didn't like there are wine bars and sommeliers who like to give you like the biodynamic wines and your orange wines, like the wines that are trendy. And there's a space for that. There's also a space for a place where you can go, and know that, okay, the wine here is always going to be good. Atmosphere is always going to be good, right? There's always a space for places that is always going to be good. You want an old reliable. And in my experience, there are places here in Buenos Aires that should be old reliables. The thing is that I love my Argentines, but they tend to veer towards being sometimes they tend to veer towards being a little postmodern sometimes, a little too experimental. And at the end of the day, you just want to go to a place and know. You want to have what I would like to call a bottom bitch of bars. Well, my bar aims to be the bottom bitch.
Nice.
Yeah.
Have you visited the wineries?
I have.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I went out to Mendoza. Stayed there for about a month, and got very familiar with the terrain there. Very familiar with the players there and processes like. And mind you, I don't have a wine certification. I'm not a sommelier. I don't have any one of those really fancy abbreviations after my name. I'm not that guy. I want wine to be a mystery, because for them it's a science. For them it's like my mind is involved in too many things. And once wine becomes a science to me, now I lose the reason why I'm into it. So I love it, and I love it. I'm involved in it, but for me personally, I don't want it to be a situation where I know so much that there's no exploration left.
Are you familiar with the Torrentes uva, the grape? From
Yes.
Tucumán?
Yes, sir.
Have you been to that region, Tucumán region?
I have not been to Tucumán, but I'm familiar with Torrentes in several different regions.
The Torrentes grape is one of the biggest marketing blunders in wine grape history.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Explain to me.
Because when they started making wine with the uva Torrentes, they marketed it as something cheap that everybody can drink. But they didn't realize that grape only grows there. It's a very unique grape. Had they marketed it, as a really fine, exclusive, one-of-a-kind wine, you know what I'm saying? A bottle of Torrontés, I mean, they sell it in those boxes, man, those, it's box wine.
Yeah.
But now, they try to turn it around, but some blunder.
So one of my observations slash criticisms of the Argentine wine industry, and it's actually a observation slash criticism of the business environment. And I think there's a reason why I'm saying this. There's a reason why just follow me here. Because of Argentina's history of frequent economic distress, it forces people to adopt a short-term thinking mindset. Right? So everything has to be now because nothing's guaranteed next year. Right? It's one of the main reasons why Buenos Aires, Argentina is still very much a cash economy. Right? Because you need it now. All right? We don't trust this bank to transfer these funds. The concept of transferencia, like my girlfriend and I, we have debates on the use of transferencia. Like in the United States, we have Venmo, done. Like Cash App, boom. What's your Cash App? Done. Like we're not taking steps to get in the alias and this, that, and no. It's just what's your Venmo handle? Boom, done. Right. The reason why I bring that up is because that friction, I believe, is a result of a lower level of trust in the institutions here, and that lower level of trust limits people's views. So then, as a result, when in the business environment, in order to cement your reputation, you have to take a long-term investment. You see, Torrontés as a grape is not very well known in the United States, but I think it's largely the fault of not having faith in the future. And I think that's a hallmark of Argentine thinking. It's like everything is now this month, as opposed to like, okay, we have it planned out 12, 24, 48 months. And my belief, observation is that Argentina holds itself back because it's afraid to be great. Because this country has everything. This country has literally everything. But it's like what it takes to be great is scary. Yeah, it's scary, especially when you've been spooked with economic disaster. Because I came, let's see, when I arrived, it was like 10 years after 2001, right? So there was economic disaster in 2000. And then there was an economic disaster, I think, a couple years after I left. So people, that type of hesitance, you know what I'm saying, influences virtually everything. It influences, for example, investing into infrastructure. Because when I came here 14 years ago, we'll take something like the SUPTA, right? Trains were clean. I was, coming from New York, like, train stations were pristine. They weren't falling apart. I come back because, like, for me, my experience here in Buenos Aires is that of a time traveler. All right, because I'm still the same person. So when I come back here, it's like, okay, now see, I tell people the things that could have gotten better got better. The things that could have gotten worse got worse. For example, before I left back in 2011, we'll take the Cartoneros, right? The Cartoneros used to almost serve as a function of the city. We're like, okay, they would take your recycling trash, right? And they supplemented the waste removal function in the city. They actually supplemented it. I come back and it's trash thrown out on the streets. Like, what? For me, it's like going through a time machine. Like, fast forward 14 years, what has happened? And I think, again, Argentina wants to be great. They want to be great. They have everything that necessarily be great. You know what Argentina is? Argentina is that really hot girl who's picked on and teased growing up. In fact, remember that talk show Jenny Jones?
Vaguely.
Vaguely. All right, so in the 90s, there was this talk show host named Jenny Jones, and like 40% of her shows was like, in high school I wasn't hot, but I'm hot now. And they would always walk out this person who got picked on in high school, and now this girl's hot. That's Argentina. Argentina is like an objectively hot girl who the other girls hated on and made her believe that she was ugly. And now she still carries a stigma of being ugly. That's Argentina.
Some people say Argentina never misses a chance to miss an opportunity, or never misses an opportunity to miss an opportunity.
Man, never. Yeah. Never. Never. It's wild.
It didn't happen on Sunday, though. Yeah.
Sunday. Was that?
The elections.
Oh, the elections?
Yeah, a good opportunity to take advantage of that opportunity. Let's see what happens.
I will say this. I'm not conversant enough in Argentine politics to say one word or the other. I will say this though. This I can say. The media doesn't get it right. Clearly the media doesn't do its homework. Because that result was of a order of magnitude that it should not have been a surprise. Which means that the media did not properly canvass people. I remember being in New York and going to this private membership club. There's a private membership club called Neue House. All right, it's kind of like Soho House, but they're more or less all the same, right? And I remember watching the New York Times editorial staff having a meeting, right? And I'm not a participant, but I'm there, and I'm looking at the New York Times editorial staff. I'm like, there's no fucking way these people can do honest journalism, because they're all the same people. They're all the same people talking to the same people, so their perspectives are going to be skewed. And I see that with even the media here. It's like, okay, I'm like this. Let me just talk to somebody like me. Well, the problem is, one of my heroes, a very famous man, once said, if everyone in the room is thinking alike, then no one's thinking. So again, the election result reflected that. Like, it should not have been a surprise had the media actually did their job.
Let me ask you, so you feel comfortable starting a business now?
No.
Or are you afraid? Are you scared?
There's tons of fear. There's tons of fear. First of all, it's a business. You know what I'm saying? So there's always the fear until you achieve escape velocity, right? And then when you achieve escape velocity, then there's always a fear of your competition. And I was watching a podcast last night, and someone had said something that just resonated with me. I was like, wow, I wish I had adopted this mindset. This person had said that business is war, and it's really that. And because whatever it is I'm doing, even though I don't believe that making money and running a business is a zero-sum game, it doesn't mean the next person does not believe it's a zero-sum game. Meaning that person's thinking that if I win, they lose. So therefore, I have to make sure that this person must lose. Mm. So yeah, business is war. Like, there's, you know, say in when you are in a stressful situation, there is fear. I mean, obviously, you have to do what you have to do. You know what I'm saying? Your mission objectives remain the same, irrespective of how you actually feel. But in terms of, like, if you ask me, do I get scared? Yes, absolutely. Because I'm operating in a foreign country against adversaries of whose dispositions I have not thoroughly determined, trying to achieve a goal behind enemy lines. Yeah. There's a fair amount of fear.
All right. Speaking of fear, were you afraid the first time you drank mate? I see you got your mate there.
So the first time I drank mate was actually 24 years ago.
24 years ago you drank
Yeah, so yeah, 24, yeah. First time I drank mate was actually 24 years ago, and I hated it. Loathed it. I couldn't believe that there was a population that drank mate. All right? And I remember the first time tasting it. It was in New York City. Drank it, spat it out. I was like, this is insane. It's insane. Like this, like I was thinking that the entire population of Argentina was under the grip of a shared delusion. That they made themselves believe that this tasted good. Well, what happened was so many things in life you don't like immediately because you don't know enough to like it.
Like beer.
Exactly. Because if your first beer is Bud Light, that first Bud Light is your last Bud Light.
My first beer was Colt 45.
Really? Really?
Yeah.
Really? Wait, are we talking about the Billy D?
Colt 45, Old English 800.
OE?
Those are the beers that hit you harder.
Oh my God! Like Steel Reserve.
Yes, that was
St. Ides. Oh my God!
Colt 45. I'll never forget that taste.
Oh man.
Jeez. I mean, young.
Yeah.
It's first beer.
My first beer was Miller.
Miller.
Yeah, Miller. Yeah, that was my first beer. But like you said, like if you don't have a taste for something, and then you taste like, the basement of that, you start to think that that everything of that thing is the basement. Yeah. And so it was like that for me with mate. It took for me to be like, okay, I'll give this mate another try. It took for me to go into social settings where I'm like, all right, I don't want to be rude. I'll share the mate.
Cool.
And then after a certain point, I'm like, I'm gonna go ahead and buy this mate.
It grows on you.
It does. So now like, okay, I'm coming to the studio. Not like I said again, not to pander to the point of this podcast. Like I'm a mate drinker.
Cool.
Yeah.
All right. How do you feel about other RG or Porteño customs like the Hello Kiss?
Man.
You like kissing strange men when you walk into a club or something?
No, I don't. I'm sorry. And I'll tell you why. Because I find the fact that women are strange animals. They really are. They're wonderful and they're strange. They're like duckbill platypi. The idea of another beard touching my lips is crazy. It's like the fact that women can get accustomed to kissing Velcro is wild to me. So no, I'm a handshaker. I mean, there's plenty of social situations where an Argentine guy would come up to me and like we'd hug and and we like cheek touch. Yeah, the cheek touch. But no, like
it's kind of awkward.
Yeah. I'm not really that's one area where I'm like, okay, I'm gonna be very very American about this.
Cool.
Yeah.
Do you have a favorite slang? Any do you curse in English? Puta madre. Are you at that level yet?
Oh, my favorite curse word?
You say boludo? Che boludo.
Oh no, I've been saying che boludo. Hey, what's a good one? Actually, my favorite curse words are actually more of the Cuban variety. Like
Coño.
No, worse. Like here the siete leches.
Hija de siete leche. Oh my God.
Cuban curse words are curse words are worse.
They're worse than your mama.
Yeah, brother. We're talking about like all types of chancleta worthy speech. Yeah.
It doesn't get that nasty here.
Oh, no.
We got the shell of your mother and the shell of your sister. That's about it.
No. Cubans are truly profane.
All right.
In a good way. For my Cubanos. Like, please don't cause trouble for me in Miami. I need to be friends with y'all.
All right. Cool. I wanted to ask you before you
Yes,
wrap
sir.
it up. How's it feel to be a gringo in Buenos Aires?
It's man, that's a whole separate other podcast. But I will say this
In a nutshell.
in a nutshell. I'm most times I'm never really aware of it because I will say this. And I want to. How much time do I have?
Yeah, a couple minutes.
Couple minutes. I will say this. Unlike many gringos, I don't live in Palermo, and this is a key distinction. I live in Sant'Elmo, and I live in the non-touristic part of Sant'Elmo. So for me, I live in like the real Sant'Elmo, and this is a very important thing I'm saying right now, because where I live is like I'm treated just like everybody else. Like literally just like everybody else. So like. Maybe once or twice a week I'm reminded I'm the gringo. Most days it's Senor Shaw, whatever. Like I live with the people. I experience everything that the people.
Senor Shaw, they tell you.
Senor Shaw, yes.
Wow.
I am of age. Yeah.
Never give me a che negro. No, never give you that call.
Nah. I mean, maybe when I've walked away like 50 meters. It's
Because it's common. People here they call you fat che gordo. The fat guy they call gordo. The skinny guy they call him flaco.
Yeah.
I got friends the che negro. They're called negro cebolla. I got a friend called onion.
No, what I get is something known as I wish I could say it in Spanish. What I get is something known as a gringo face.
Uh-huh.
So it's like I have a separate designation. See, I have a separate designation. So like, but I've never been addressed as negro or gringo. Like, no, not to me.
I get the flaco. I get the flaco maestro. I get the maestro call. Flaco I get all the time.
Okay.
Skinny.
Okay.
If you grow up with a complex, skinny, people call you skinny when you're like.
Oh yeah, I used to be flaco.
Yeah.
I remember those days.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay. Any advice to anyone that coming to live in BA or visiting BA? Any words of advice?
Yeah, my word of advice for anyone coming to BA is as follows. Be very aware that your habits either multiply or divides your situation. Meaning that there are things that you've taken for granted that you've always done can either add to your situation or hinder you. Because remember, this is a place with its own culture, and the people here are very proud of their culture. So my advice to gringos is please don't walk around as if your way of doing things is superior. And if it is, keep that to yourself.
All right.
Yeah, that's
right.
Yeah.
Wow, that was wonderful.
Yeah.
Yeah, thanks a lot. Well,
Yeah.
thanks a lot, man. That was a really, really, really insightful
Thank
talk. You. And thank you for being here. And all right, to my audience out there, I hope you enjoyed that. And I'll catch you next time for another dose of Gringos in Buenos Aires. Ciao for now.
Ciao.